Hello again. So today I want to go over 5 tips to hopefully help you feel more comfortable filming yourself and get a better result from filming yourself. Initially, when I started filming myself, this was a process that felt extremely clunky and uncomfortable. I really dreaded the idea of actually having to go out and film myself in different locations. And I thought people would be looking at me, but in reality, no one really cares. Just go out, do it, do your thing, and if people ask, just tell them what you're doing, and I'm sure they'll be intrigued. People don't care that you're filming yourself. I realized that you just have to go out and do it. And yeah, obviously it's easier said than done sometimes, and it's easy to get self-conscious about filming yourself because at the end of the day, you kind of look a little strange when you have your camera set up on a tripod and you're acting out certain scenes. But don't overthink it. People don't care what you're doing. And at the end of the day, if you're producing something that you're passionate about, nothing else should really matter. First one that I believe is crucial when you're filming yourself is to have a solid story. So many times when I first started filming, I would dive right into the filming aspect of a video, not really knowing what exactly I wanted to film, but instead just going out there, getting shots that looked cool, and then going back and piecing them together in a way that I thought looked aesthetic. When in reality, what I should have done is really taken a step back and kind of given some more thought to what the story I wanted to tell. I believe that telling a story within your video, whether simple or complicated, doesn't really matter, is so crucial. So this will basically provide significantly more intrigue to your audience. So there's so many times when you open a video, you start playing it, grabs your attention, but then all of a sudden it's jumping all over the place and you can't really follow what's going on. It doesn't really make any sense. So chances are that video doesn't really have a story. It's not following a specific timeline. There's not a beginning, middle, and end to the video. And so it causes confusion and really almost disorients the audience. So I believe that by having this aspect of story throughout your video, it really draws the viewer in and it makes them intrigued and they want to know what's going to happen next. They're following along, whether subconsciously or consciously, to the story that's unfolding before them. And so when people start watching a video with a story, as long as it's a decent enough story, they'll want to see the end result. They'll want to see what happened to this character in the end. So it provides a lot more depth to your videos. So essentially, this story is going to be the backbone of your video. And then from there, I find it provides a much easier structure for when you're going out and filming these shots. All right, so the second tip that I'm going to bring up is relying on composition. So because you're out there by yourself, filming yourself, there's a lack of camera movement. So most likely you'll either have your camera on your tripod, on the ground, wherever it is, but it's going to be stationary. It's not going to be moving around. So there's a lot more emphasis put on the composition of each shot. You want to ensure that there is depth to your shots. It's not just a flat image. When you're putting thought into the composition of each shot, this will add depth to the story as well. It'll draw the focus towards your subject. It will allow you to kind of take a step back and really appreciate the art form as well, because you have to think about, foreground, background, if there's any distractions in the shot, where the focus is meant to be. So because you're filming yourself and the camera tends to be stationary, you do also have to get creative with your composition. So you'll have to think it through a little bit more, be a little bit more methodical, and really think what this shot is meant to dictate and what it's actually trying to tell the viewer. So this could mean positioning the camera in a spot that maybe if you were filming someone else, you wouldn't necessarily think to place it. So this could be like on the ground, it could be on the ceiling, whatever it is, honestly. But it's getting creative with what you've got, which is yourself, and taking the time. So there's No rush. It's better to slow things down, get the shots you need, think them through, and if it's not the right time of day for that composition, come back a different day, come back at a different time of day. There's no point on forcing the shot. And just realize that your video doesn't have to be completed within a single day. It's better to take your time, take multiple days to get the shots you want, than to rush the content just for the sake of putting it out that day. All right, so this kind of leads into the next point. So the third point that I want to bring up is get creative with your shots. So this, like I said, could mean placing your camera from a weird perspective, whether it be, under your bed or on the landing of the stairs as you're going down the stairs. Just get creative, or put it in your dishwasher. Put it in places where you typically wouldn't expect your camera to be. It really brings another element, another layer of intrigue as well. And this provides further depth to your video, and it will make people want to keep watching and draw them further into the story that you're trying to tell. Putting your camera in places that it potentially isn't meant to be really adds an element of surprise as well to your video, and will keep the viewers guessing as to what's going to happen next. Another thing to add regarding getting creative with your shots is it's super important to get multiple shots of the same thing from different focal lengths, from different distances, from different angles, whatever it is. Get multiple shots of you doing the same thing. So this will give you the ability to then, in post, stitch multiple shots together to significantly enhance your video and provide different perspectives for doing the exact same thing. If you're just using one shot to show a given action or a given moment within your video, chances are the viewer might get slightly bored, depending on whether it's an incredible composition or not. But if you decide to then piece together 3 or maybe 4 different videos that take up the same amount of time as that one video, this will keep people far more engaged. It shows your creativity and your ability to think outside the box for perspectives of doing the exact same thing. So just be creative. Don't conform to the fact that you don't necessarily have to just place your camera on the tripod. Using a tripod is excellent when it comes to filming yourself, but you don't just have to put your camera on the tripod. Put it on the ground, put it on the toilet, I don't know, put it anywhere you want, as long as obviously the camera is safe. But just be a little creative, be inventive. The fourth tip that I'm going to bring up is when you're filming yourself, use manual focus. Despite how great autofocus is in a lot of the cameras in this day and age, if you're filming yourself, you want to use manual focus. And the reason for that is because the autofocus, it can jump around a bit, and with manual focus, you can guarantee when you're pulling focus for your shot that you're going to be focused on the correct area. You're going to be focused on the subject. And sometimes it doesn't work necessarily. Sometimes you're slightly out of focus, because it is tricky when you're not in frame and you have to pull focus for where you think you're going to be in frame. So sometimes it's slightly out of focus, but I think that kind of adds to your story. It adds to the beauty of filming yourself. So not every shot has to be crystal clear. It doesn't have to be crisp. You can have some shots that are slightly out of focus, or your framing isn't necessarily quite right. I think it's just the beautiful aspect of filming yourself. All right, so moving on to the fifth and final point. So this one kind of wraps everything together, ties everything together. Don't rush the process. Just take your time. Like I said, think of a story first. Come up with a story that you're happy with, that shows a start, middle, and end to it. And then if you do have the time, think through your shots that you want to get, that you can then, incorporate into your story before you go out and actually shoot. And if you're looking to get a shot that's at dawn, but it's already midday, don't just force the shot and get the shot midday. It's not going to look the same. Just wait until dawn the following day to get your shot, or dawn 2 days from now. There's so much emphasis nowadays on fast content that needs to be pumped out on the daily with social media and short videos. But I think there's a beauty to actually taking your time to appreciate the process and put out content that you're happy with, that really portrays what you want to portray and tells a story that you are passionate about or will make other people stop and think. Just take the necessary time to think through your shots, think through the composition, think through the camera placement, what you want the perspective to be of each shot, what the mood should be. Take your time, enjoy the process. You'll get better as you keep practicing. Trust me, I've learned that. I initially got extremely frustrated with myself because I wasn't getting the end results that I was looking for, but if you keep putting in the time, keep putting in the work, then the results will come. Keep things simple and sweet and it'll pay off. And just keep practicing, because that's what I'm doing and it's been working for me. And I will always continue to practice. There's never a day where I will think that I have learned everything there is to learn. That's just ridiculous. All right, so that's all for this video. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.